Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Happy Friday. It's a Friday. Happy Friday. Another day, another dollar. What else is new? I'm gonna turn off the light. Okay. I'll see this light. Sorry. Oops, wrong one. All right. Light is off. I flipped the switch. The light is off. I say that because this must be on a separate switch than all the other street lights. And I think it's going that well for me in the public square. That must be what's happening. I think it's funny. Um, when I'm out and about, what I've noticed recently has been happening, and not too recently, is I'm like in somebody's vicinity or somebody's in my vicinity, whatever, and they'll like look at their watch. Recently, somebody said, "Ew," when we were in close quarters, a little kind of hall kind of way. And at that moment in time, I didn't happen to say anything. I was just like, ugh, I need to get out of here. I can't be stuck in here with these people in these close quarters. At that time, I didn't say anything or nothing. But they said something. So I've said you before. I've checked my watch before. And now I'm seeing that behavior directed towards me, to people I don't know. I don't know who they are. I guess they know who I am. Isn't it weird if that's true? Isn't it weird how they know who I am, but they don't say as much? Is that not odd? I say that because of a bigger picture. Maybe the bigger picture including legal proceedings and court of law. Mm, this is really bizarre. What's happening here? But anyway, just want to let y'all know that's what's happening. The stuff that I say where I'm just like, I'm in a uncomfortable situation. I don't know how to respond to that. I want to not completely ignore the reality in which I'm a public figure and celebrity. Uh, you know, because I'm not broke. Even though I may look like I'm broke, it may look like I don't got no money, right? But that's just not the reality. I mean, it may be the reality in this household, okay? Unfortunately. But there's a lot going on in there, okay? It changes from day to day, week to week, as far as how much my mom's teacher retirement money goes. Anyway, so I try not to completely ignore the reality for lots of reasons. So it's one thing if you have any sort of negative and disparaging remarks. It's quite another if you have negative and disparaging remarks against me when I'm, in fact, don't have any access to any money. And the only people who seem to know who I am are people who uh, are repeating the same gestures and statements that I make when I'm out in public. But, how did you know that? So yeah, I try not to be forced to live in a certain kind of escapism. Isn't that funny that I use that word escapism? But it's like the other way. like a reverse tarot card escapism. Say, y'all got some escapism issues, okay? I just think it's, I bring up I don't know anything about any kind of court. Like, as I keep repeating, I'm not a celebrity and public figure. I don't have any money. I'm not a social media influencer. I'm not an artist, okay? I'm a diagnosed schizophrenic. That's why I don't have a job. And I'm living with my mom, rent free, of which I have to clean the house. So I keep repeating, I don't know anything about any sort of legal issues that's been going on with me, other than maybe Clown Gabbard says that you cannot talk about her voting mistakes, the process in which there were mistakes, and which renders her ballot needs to be cured. If it's not cured, then it shouldn't be counted. They're just normal, regular people. If they're just normal, regular people, I hope you have that argument. I really do. Because that's how you've been treating me. Right? Not one business meeting, not one paycheck, not one consent form that I signed. Okay, not one. Have any sort of legal proceedings. I've been looking up in Texas law about incompetency to stand trial, and none of that has happened. So as far as me not being present in any sort of hypothetical, alleged legal proceedings seems really contrary to Texas law. Okay, so I'm just throwing that out there. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I want to be with my husband. This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't want to share a bathroom with my 40-year-old sister. I don't want to live with my mom. I don't want to be here. Okay, I want to be with my husband and have a really great life. Instead of being around people who, I guess you're there accidentally. You're repeating things that I've said when I'm out and about in the public square in San Antonio, because obviously I don't have any money to travel anywhere, obviously. I just went over that. Repeating the same gestures and quotes back to me. You know, I'm really curious as to how people can afford all these houses, because that's a big Ron Nuremberg thing. Housing affordability. But apparently he don't know nothing. Apparently he's celebrating Fiesta along with KSAT 12, who I have to see on my sister Tracy's 40-year-old, who I live right here, share a bathroom. I have to see on her Instagram. She works at Michael's, by the way. So can't you get a job closer to the house, where we don't have to go through this highway traffic every time to drop you off and pick you up? Nope, can't do it. Have to have the lawn people go across my bedroom window. And yet another random. I consider this harassment. Okay? You want to say this is a random back alley. As far as housing affordability goes, I definitely consider that harassment. I don't know how much more clear I need to make that. Okay? And what's the point in having me out here like this? So random people who, you know, definitely don't say they recognize me, but they'll do the same gestures and same statements and quotes that I do out in public in order to avoid being in close proximity with people who I don't know if they've seen my entire life, if they've seen sexual violence towards me here in this back alley, right? So until I have any of that information, I don't want to be in your space. I don't want you to be in my space. Obviously, I cannot claim this space because this is my mom's house. Okay? Threatened to call the police on me. Chuck looks like a retired FBI agent who I plan to press charges against. Talk about a revenge tour. Okay? So, it's disgusting. It's gross. Happy Fiesta. That's why I say ew. That's what I heard yesterday when I was at the zoo. I was in close proximity to somebody. It was a male and a female, and guess what? The female went ew. So that's odd. I say that a lot whenever I'm forced to be in a close proximity to somebody and I don't want to be. I say, you could have avoided being in this close proximity with me, but you didn't. You made that choice to engage in this close proximity with me. And my response to that is ew. Why? Because I haven't formally pressed charges against, what's his name? Gregory Pratt. And so on and so forth on down the line. How this doesn't advertise domestic violence, sexual violence, and all that, I guess Ron Nirenberg can make a statement about. Maybe Casey DeSantis can make a statement about. Because it's a part of society to just completely ignore me. Because I'm a nuisance in this neighborhood because I don't have any money. But at least Stefanik wants to be governor of New York. Isn't that great? What's your job? You think it's going to be hard to find that out? Okay. Anyway. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I plan to press charges against all that, so. And isn't it weird if there has been any sort of legal proceedings, why that was able to happen before I was able to press charges against any of that? Gregory, Walter, and of those not of sexual nature, right? What would be the best course of action here? As far as precedent being set, right? Incompetency to stand trial. It's a really big process here in the state of Texas. So anyway, what that brings me to is my activity on the Twitter this morning. Seems a lot of judges have been saying null and voiding executive orders, which I think is interesting. Today's I saw an article that said null and voiding an executive order, saying that that's powers with Congress. So, it sounds kind of silly to me. Maybe in the judge's statement there has been a detailed outline of the legal executive order and everything about that, the legalities. And obviously, courts cost a lot of money, right? You may not know that because of how many people have to go to work in the morning. It actually costs a lot of money to go to court. So, anyway, so yeah, siding with the Biden administration is what a lot of judges are doing, and they're doing that in uh, judges are siding with the Biden administration, be it specifically Congress, I guess, congressional bills that have been passed, and going against the current administration via executive order, and maybe how that looks. The presidency, optics, all of a sudden the Biden administration is not a problem. All of a sudden KGP is has not been a mess of a mess over there. The DEI. Okay, makes total sense. You're going to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion on this formerly known NISD school bus route. Guess how ridiculous that sounds to me? Guess. Anyway. And what is this about? I'm not making this video in the house, in the air condition, because I'm acknowledging a reality in which the two people who I live with, my mom and my sister, they don't acknowledge that reality. That's why I'm out here, right? Can't make this video in there. And then this back alley all of a sudden is really busy. It's a pattern of behavior I've seen for minimum 4 years. But I'm sure Lisa, Jose, Nikki Haley, Lisa Chris, Liz Chris, Pat, Diane, Joyce, Melissa, I'm sure they're doing great. Right? I'm sure they're doing great. Having gainful employment, not being diagnosed schizophrenic. I'm sure they're living it up. Anyway. So yeah, my point of this video was executive orders. I kind of digressed. I have a bit of anger this morning. So the judges using, I don't know how it gets to a judge. Is this just a judge doing an own personal ruling? Is this a judge, there's a what is it called, defense and state, or I guess United States lawyer going on? I just skimmed the article. I posted it on AOC's Twitter. Said nobody, AOC, I'm talking to you, AOC. I don't know how much faith you're going to instill in people if you're talking about cutting the costs of medical expenses if you can't even promote marijuana legalization. Can't even promote it. Does anybody know when was the last time AOC promoted marijuana legalization medicinally and recreationally? When was the last time she did that? Because according to some metric, I'm not, I honestly, I couldn't tell you which metric, but according to some metrics of political parties, that would make my husband the 45th and current 47th president of the United States more liberal and progressive than AOC. And whether it was an executive order, I don't know. He did something with cannabis, marijuana, in, what do you call it, in the 45th administration. I know that much. I know medically in Texas they do offer it when you're going through chemotherapy. So, AOC, if you wouldn't mind, when you're promoting trying to get universal health care or cutting healthcare costs strategically, this is my consultation to you, and it's free. So you might as well take this advice, right? Now that I'm saying it. You need to couple cutting medical and healthcare costs with marijuana legalization, medically and recreationally. Okay? I don't know why that's not something you're not already doing, but I can guess. So you're gonna have a certain look if you don't do that. And wouldn't it be great? Because now anytime a Republican goes against AOC, they're gonna say, AOC, your response can be, they're against less expensive healthcare and marijuana legalization. Then that can be your automatic quip back. And in an attempt to make the Republicans look like super bad guys. Now, and as far as a metric, Republicans should be about less government, and how marijuana legalization should be a definition of less government in the home and all that. I don't know why that argument isn't there. So, other than this cutting of the funding seems to be a really key issue the first 100 days of the 47th presidency. Cutting of the funding for whatever it is, DEI, sanctuary cities, basically something to do with minorities. Maybe there's other stuff too. So yeah, cutting the funding. Which is interesting because I don't know, out of the budgets, yearly budgets, congressional budgets being passed, I think that would also be interesting to look at the statistics there. How long did it take for the budgets to get made? How much was a copy and paste from the previous year or previous years? And stuff like that. Because if we're going to get into the funding, let's get into the funding. Let's go. Okay, I'm ready to be with my husband. We're ready to be together. And life, liberty, in pursuit of happiness, right? I used to make the joke, like, even when you're in prison, you can have, like, one of those little visits, right? You know? Those visits of, being with your significant other. So if that's a right even given to people who have been convicted of a crime and put in prison, I don't know what they're trying to tell me going down this back alley with a vehicle or with a person, right? Of which San Antonio, if it's not a formerly known NISD school bus route, then it is San Antonio, what is it, Development Services over here. So, but Fiesta kickoff was yesterday. I know that because I saw my sister's Instagram post. And as far as all of that, I'm really not appreciating this Instagram metrics algorithms going on. I go to the search and I see nothing but what I would consider softcore porn. This is gross. I don't want to see that. Where are the food pics? Where are the pet pics and all that stuff? Instead, I have to see fat women in a bra and underwear shaking their butt in the camera. So I don't know how Instagram allows that, but apparently they do. And apparently it's for some reason that algorithm is on my Instagram. I have no idea why. Because there's definitely not precedent for that. Okay? It's disgusting. Everywhere I go, my phone. out in the neighborhood. So I can't be with my husband. But judges are taking a really big action against my husband for cutting the funding of a lot of stuff from the previous administration. So that's where we're at. Happy Friday. You know, another day, another dollar. So obviously I can't wait to get out of this neighborhood. Obviously there's no money to be made for meet and greet before and after 2021, right? And stuff like that. So what does that tell me? Where's the money to be made, and who's making that money? Because it's obviously not me, and it's obviously not in a career path, right? But Ron and Casey DeSantis have this Hope Florida. I said, well, what are their reputations? They have really great reputations to where they are boosting this Hope Florida. What's going on there? So maybe you don't have the best reputations, Ron and Casey DeSantis. Even though you are governor and first lady of Florida, maybe your reputations aren't that great. Maybe people see you promoting a certain something and then they're like, well, maybe I shouldn't donate any money there. Maybe. It's hard for me to tell because of my immediate environment and surroundings. Whoop. It's 7:16 a.m. What's your job? Gonna have all these legal proceedings. I'm guessing all these legal proceedings. I'm guessing some stuff has happened, right? In the court of law, excluding me. So you're gonna have a business of mine, but that business entity has never contacted me, ever. That business entity has never contacted me through my mom, ever. So, if I'm that irrelevant, then why even have that business at all? Anyway, absolutely ridiculous. Definitely triggered by Tracy's Instagram post with KSAT 12 and Ron Nirenberg. Definitely don't want to be here. I want to be with my husband. We want to be together. Because he wants to be with me and I want to be with him. I know that some of y'all probably don't know what that's like. Okay? Why else would you do this to somebody? But definitely frustrated about that. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're going to do that while I'm here. That's what they're going to do. Okay? There's not going to be a judge or verdict saying I should publicly address the public square. No. Just about the money. Which happens to be a really big issue for the 47th Trump administration, cutting the funding. So, anyway, I guess that's what I have to say this morning. It's all humid out here. Anyway, wish me luck today. I can, it's just, right now it's just a trudging, constant, I would rather be sharing a living situation with my husband. I don't want to be here. I don't want to have to share a bathroom with my 40-year-old sister. I don't want to have to wake up every morning and, I love my mom, but I don't want to have to wake up every morning and be with my mom. I want to be with my husband. So if I can wake up every morning and I can text my mom while I'm with my husband, okay? Say, Mom, you need to get your nails done here. Let me pay for that. I want to be with my husband. I don't want to be here so I can be tortured and harassed. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And the worst part is, they're going to treat me like this is just any other neighborhood. I'm not a celebrity and public figure, meaning I don't have any money. That's what they're going to do at 9107 Rustler's Creek. And does that help my mom and my sister Tracy? No, it doesn't. Which is something that I would like to talk to at length at some point in time. Maybe even in a court of law. But anyway, it's very frustrating. I just want to be with my husband already. This is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So I guess I'll talk to you later. Y'all have a good one. Happy Friday. Another day, another dollar.